Hi all, just on here to show you my favourite face makeup brushes. I will probably do a eye brush collection as well later on, but I thought I'd start with the face because there's quite a few brushes to get through. I'll explain what I use them for, why I have a few, and and if you think you'd like watching this video, carry on watching. And if you press like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. I do high-end makeup and skincare for the more maturing woman. So if that appeals to you, please press subscribe. So let's crack on. So I'm going to start off with my favourite foundation brush. So I will start with foundation brushes, and that is the Marc Jacobs Face 3 brush. So this brush is duo fibered, tightly packed, lovely huge amount of bristles, and very soft bristles, slightly domed. What this does, it's great for liquid foundation, by the way. You pop your brush into your foundation, so pop your foundation on the backhand, pop your brush in, and quickly blend out over the skin. Because it is quite a big brush, it takes literally seconds to apply and buff out. Gives a lovely glow to the face, no brush lines anywhere. And the reason why I love this is because if you're in a hurry for work in the morning, it literally takes seconds to use. It's £37. However, it's just a lovely brush, super soft, and like I say, works really quickly, which is what I want. This brush is available in Harvey Nichols, and you have to be quick because as soon as it comes in, it pretty much sells straight out again. So that might show you the popularity of the brush. Next up, I have an alternative to that, and that is the Face Expert brush from Real Techniques. So if I just show you the difference to begin with, as you can see, the Marc Jacobs is pretty much more tightly packed than the Real Techniques. However, they're very similar. It's just that the Real Techniques, it's obviously it's not obvious, but it is quite a bit cheaper. And like I say, smaller head. It's still quite tightly packed, and this is good at buffing in liquid foundation around the nose area and any sort of nooks and crannies in the face. It does blend out really well. However, it takes quite a bit longer than the Marc Jacobs one does. It probably comes in because I got this as part of a set. I don't know the individual price, but I will find out. I think it will come in at about £9. So, and this one I've had for a good couple of years now, and it has lost a couple of bristles, but not many. It's been really good for it. It's a great cost-effective brush, and like I say, it does the job, really well. Good for traveling because it's smaller as well. And again, seamless application. It doesn't leave any lines on the face with your foundation, and it blends out nicely. So next up, I have my cream foundation brush, and this is my trusty old Chanel brush. Now, they don't make the Chanel brush like this one anymore. The brush has become more like this. They've got a full black handle and black hairs, and I think a lot of their brushes now are synthetic. So, but this one is, I think it's synthetic as well. Actually, I will double check. Excuse me. It is I think about 8 years old. It has lost a couple of fibres over the years, but it's still going strong. It's a lovely brush. It's quite sturdy with its trio of fibres. It's got lovely soft tip fibres there. It does really buff out cream foundation really well. It targets areas around the nose with the point. What else can I say? It's, like I say, blends seamlessly. Obviously, cream foundations take a bit longer to blend out. However, they offer that heavier coverage if you've got, like, I can get blemishes around my nose and mouth quite easily. So it's good for that reason. Like I say, I've had that brush for years now. I think it was £35 when I bought it. Well worth the money. I have no regrets whatsoever. You can get other flathead foundation brushes that are a lot cheaper, but you have to bear in mind you're probably going to replace them every couple of years because they'll lose fibres or lose the shape. So a lot of these brushes I've bought are investment pieces, and I want them to last years. So this is why I mean, like when I say I spend the money out on my brushes, some brushes are 70, £80 upwards. So I'm like on the mid price point for a brush, and like these have what last me so well. They've done really well. Right, next up I've got two more going for foundation. These next two are targeted to a particular foundation. So first off is my Dior. And this one is for the Air Flash foundation. So I'll show you that. Now the Air Flash foundation is it comes out like a superfine mist, a bit like a setting spray. However, it deposits foundation onto your skin. You can apply it that way. However, that could be messy. So if you do that, you need to go in the bathroom, put a towel around your hair, and then shake well and spray it onto your face from 10 to 20 centimeters away. It does give a lovely airbrushed effect. Super fine mist comes out and it just sits on your skin and you never have to touch it. However, this brush has been designed in case you do want to brush, because you want to buff it in. Now, if you use a normal brush to try and buff in that foundation, it loses that lovely airbrush effect. This brush is beautiful. It's tightly packed, super soft, really beautiful. So I spray the foundation onto there, apply it directly to the skin surface, and two goes like that and it's buffed in. It's super fast. It gives a medium coverage, this brush and that foundation. And again, you get that lovely airbrush. It's like an airbrush effect, but leaves this lovely glow to the skin. So it is a splurge, but it is worth the money. It was £38. I got it off Dior.com. Now, I will say you can't wash this brush. It doesn't. It specifically says not to use water with it. I believe it would probably lose its shape, so you have to clean it with makeup brush cleaner. So that's the only downside to that brush, but it is a splurge and I'm glad I bought it because I don't wear the Air Flash often. I tend to wear that more for nights out if I'm going out, more than an everyday use in work. I tend to use a liquid foundation for everyday use. So finally, I have the Guerlain. Now this one is a retractable foundation brush. Again, tightly packed duo fibre bristles made with bamboo and charcoal, and then it's got this lovely super soft top. It was made specifically for L'Essential Glow makeup, and it's a liquid foundation. You pop the foundation either on the brush or on the back of your hand, dip your brush in, and then the advice is to do sweeping movements. It does blend it out super quick. And again, it's made with charcoal, so this selling point is that if you have problem skin, the charcoal has natural antibacterial properties, so it's a great brush for that reason. So it's not going to transfer any bad bacteria around your skin. I must admit, I've never really had an issue with that. However, if that is your concern, it's a great brush for that. Great brush for traveling, because look how it's like tiny, but however densely packed enough bristles to work well and quite quickly into the skin. So it's good for everyday use as well. And I've used it with other foundations and it works pretty well with other foundations too. So that's my 5 foundation brushes. But like I say, they all do have a specific purpose, so that's the reason why I own them. Now up next I have my powder brushes. I have 2 brushes I use for highlight and 2 I use for face powder. So the first one I use, this is a Bare Minerals brush. It is a diffused highlight brush. However, I use it for face powder. I find it soft enough as it's got a lot of give in. However, it's not so tightly packed that it's going to pick up a ton of product. It's brilliant because it gives a targeted effect by applying I apply my face powder down the centre of my T-zone and then under my eye to set the concealer under my eye so it doesn't sit in the fine lines. It's a gorgeous brush, really nice. I bought this on essential.com. I had a birthday 10% off. They already had 10% off it, so I think I paid about £17 for it. It's I believe it's natural fibre, but I will double check. I don't believe in, because I'm a maturing woman now, I don't believe in using a large fluffy brush to put powder on my skin. The problem there is it won't put it in a targeted area, it'll put it all over your face. So if you've got any fine lines, it's just going to sit, the powder will just sit in those lines. And believe me, it's a quick way to looking 10 years older. So usually as you mature, you need to get a smaller brush and target your powder. So you're very careful where you're putting that powder. Believe me, powder is not a friend of an older skin. So up next is a great one for finishing powder. This is the MAC 130. Again, a duo fibre, not too densely packed. Nice soft movement, lovely soft bristles here. I will put a finishing powder on and then buff it into my skin. The reason why I buff it is if I just put a finishing powder directly onto the skin, if I've got a bit of pores and texture just around, just by the cheek and by the nose, I've got quite a bit of texture. If I buff in, it smooths the texture off really well. It does with powder too, so that's good for that reason. However, as well, with finishing powder, it tends to be quite glowy. So if you buff it in, it gives a lovely ethereal glow to the skin. So this brush is ideal. So MAC 130, this was £28. It's still readily available. I've washed this time and time and time again, and it's hardly ever lost a hair as well. I believe it is synthetic, but it is a really good brush. So that's that one. Up next is one of my favourite brushes. This is from Makeup Forever. It's a fan brush, duo fibre. You can just about see the darker fibres there running across the top. Lovely and soft fibres, firmer fibres, so the brush doesn't give way in your hand. Now, what this is great for is if you've got a highlighter that is really quite strong and you don't want to apply too much, you just flick it onto the top of your cheekbones like that, and it just places down a very small amount of powder. It is also a great brush if you put excess powder on your face to flick it off. Fantastic brush for that. But mainly I use it for highlighter that is a bit strong, like a bit strong, a bit strobe like, and if I don't want to give myself that effect, because I have fine lines around my eyes, any strong highlighters will show up those fine lines, so you have to be very careful. So this is great for just, like I say, flicking on a little tiny bit of powder. Really lovely brush, very soft. Washed it many times. I've owned this about 2 years now. I've washed this many times and it's never lost a single hair. It's brilliant. Up next is this one I was given a gift at Christmas, and it is retractable, great for travelling. Again, highlighting brush, synthetic hairs, lovely and soft again. Slightly domed, so you can put the highlighter on and then gently buff it out. This one is great for, Chanel do a lot of highlighters that are very subtle, so you can afford to put a bit more on because they don't sit in and highlight all your lines. So when I put it on, you just slightly buff it out across the top of the cheek, down the centre of the nose and across the forehead. Lovely, super soft brush. I've had this about a year now and I've washed it many times, never lost a fibre. It's £31 to buy. If you travel a lot, it's worth owning this one because it won't lose its shape in your makeup bag, whereas probably this one may do, so you can't really travel with this one. So there's my powder brushes. On to bronzers. Now, my favourite one is the Marc Jacobs bronzer brush, the bronze brush. It's £52 to buy, so it is very expensive. Excuse me. It is, however, beautifully packed, super soft, many hairs, many cut of hairs. So what that does is it's got a soft dome. You press that into your bronzer. Now I use this with my Chanel bronzer actually. It's really great. You just press it on. It puts a bit of bronzer onto the tip of the dome there, and then it just diffuses out really quickly onto the cheek. Lovely soft movement, won't leave any lines at all on the face, so you won't get this harsh line of bronzer. You'll just get this soft diffused out effect. It's gorgeous, lovely brush, super soft, synthetic hairs. This is a real investment piece because it's going to last you many years, so it is worth the money. Again, it tends to sell out really quickly, so, and as I say, really worth owning it. It's super fast in the morning when you're getting ready for work. Excuse me, I've got a terrible cough today. Now, up next is another great brush, and this one again is Bare Minerals. This is the Seamless Shaping and Finishing brush. So you could use this for powder if you wanted. However, I love, again, it's got that domed effect. It comes to a bit more of a point than the Marc Jacobs, so I'll just show you the difference. Obviously not as tightly packed full of hairs as the Marc Jacobs one is. However, it does, again, puts powder on the tip of the brush and then diffuses out really well. Super soft, this brush. It is a natural hair brush, unlike the Marc Jacobs. So if you are against that, then you're better off with buying a synthetic one. This, like I say, super soft, blends out, no harsh lines, great for bronzer. If you've got a smaller face, this is fantastic for a bronzer on a smaller face as well. I got this off Amazon and it was £21, a real bargain. Lovely brush. Now, up next is this one is a retractable Chanel bronzing brush. Super soft, synthetic hairs, very tightly packed. Gorgeous and soft on the cheek. This one was made for the Le Beige powders and illuminating bronzers. It works a treat. Packs quite a bit of powder on but blends out really quick. So again, if you're in a hurry in the morning, fantastic. It just gets the job done. You can take the brush to work with you. It's also great for Le Beige brought out powders for all over the skin, so it's great for touching up as well. Lovely brush, £38 I think as well, worth the money. Charlotte Tilbury brought out one for the airbrush bronzer. I never bothered buying that brush because I like this one and it does the same job. So lovely brush, worth having if you haven't got the Charlotte Tilbury one. Last two brushes are for the cheek. This one is my trusty Chanel brush. I've had this about 9 years. Like I say, Chanel make the brushes like that now with the black handle, synthetic hair. This one is natural hair. It's, like I say, about 8-9 years old. I own 2 of them. Lovely brush. Super, really nice, soft for application, but not too soft that it doesn't pick the product up. Blends it out really well. You can flick it onto your cheek. Lots of give in the brush. Doesn't pack too much product on the brush, so you don't have to sit there for ages trying to blend it out. There's not a lot I can say about this. It's just really good value. Hardly lost any hairs over the years, and I'm really happy with that brush. It's just lovely. And finally, my contour brush from Chanel. This is £40. This is, like I say, the newer version of how the brushes look. This is my older contour brush, sorry. As you can see, the head's a lot bigger, so it only works out as a soft contour, this brush. It's still a very nice brush. This one is much more targeted. I use this on the backs of my cheek to get more colour if I want. Fantastic. Like I say, does contour really well and blends out. Lovely soft fibres, beautifully soft. Can use this as a blusher as well, and also to highlight or as a powder brush. So it's very versatile. It's a one size fits all. Well worth the money. So there you go. There's all my powder brushes and all my makeup face brushes. And like I say, I love them all. They're all great for using every day. And if you have any questions, please ask me underneath. I'll try and give you some more information about them underneath. And if you've liked this video, please press like and subscribe. And the subscribe button is in the bottom right hand corner. Thanks so much.